Before we crack open tonight's cursed can of content, I just want to say a big thank you to all our subscribers, and an extra sinister shout out to the loyal members of the Sinister Elite. You legends help keep the darkness alive. If you're enjoying the stories and want to take it a step further, hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed, and consider joining the Sinister Elite by clicking that join button below. Members get access to creepy custom emojis and exclusive Sinister Elite badges that level up the longer you survive with us. It's like loyalty, but spookier. All right, lights off, headphones in, and let's summon something we'll all regret. Look, I didn't dream of growing up to be a night shift waterpark janitor, but after getting fired from GameStop for pretending to be a Pokemon gym leader during a staff meeting, my job prospects were limited. Add in a DUI from last Halloween. I thought my buddy's golf cart was street legal, okay? And I was desperate. That's how I ended up working nights at Splash Paradise Indoor Water Park, a place that smells like wet Band-Aids, regret, and chlorine-soaked pizza crust. The manager, Dave, hired me on the spot. No interview. Just looked me up and down and said, "You got lungs?" Yeah? You'll need 'em. Then he handed me a key card, a uniform polo that was 3 sizes too big, and a laminated rules sheet folded into eighths. The paper was wrinkled like it had been fished out of a clogged drain. "Read those," he said. "Follow 'em, and don't ever sit in the red lifeguard chair after 2:13 a.m. I laughed. He didn't. The water park at night is nothing like it is during the day. No screaming kids, no long lines, no music blasting from the speakers. Just the hum of the filtration system and the occasional splash when something moves on its own. And things do move on their own. The first night I thought I was just being paranoid. I was sweeping near the snack bar when I heard a splash behind me. I turned, but no one was there. Just the lazy river, bubbling quietly like it had a secret. "Must be the current," I muttered. That was before I found the pretzel incident. At 1:32 a.m. I walked by the food court, and I swear to you on all that's holy, a single pretzel was floating down the lazy river. I followed it, step by step. It twisted through the turns, perfectly buoyant, like someone had just dropped it in. But there was no one else in the building. When it floated past me, I swear I heard a giggle. A wet, childlike laugh echoing from nowhere. It made my spine twist like a Twizzler. That night, I read the laminated rules for real. Splash Paradise. Night staff protocols. Do not lose this. Do not enter the wave pool after midnight. It makes waves on its own. If a child asks to go back under, ignore them. They aren't yours. Never sit in the red lifeguard chair after 2:13 a.m. They'll see you. The water slide must be dry by 3 a.m. If it's wet, run. If you hear giggling from the lazy river, don't look. That's her. Keep your keycard on you at all times. The locker room doesn't like to stay empty. If you see the mascot, do not speak. Do not move. Do not blink. At first I thought it was a joke, like Dave was trolling the new guy. But that second night, the wave pool started up all on its own at 12:04 a.m. I watched it from the snack bar. The lights above it flickered as the surface began to ripple, then churn, then full-on roll like something big was rising beneath. There was no music, no timer, just water, sloshing. And the weirdest part? In the deepest part of the pool, a cluster of bubbles floated up and popped in the shape of a smiley face. I didn't sleep after that. Just sat in the break room, watching the security monitors and eating someone's leftover Dippin' Dots. By the third night, I wasn't laughing anymore. I passed the lifeguard chair at exactly 2:10 a.m. It's a tall red one by the slide, always empty. But as I passed, I swear I saw a leg swinging off the side, like someone was sitting up there, bored, waiting. I stopped walking. The swinging stopped. I stepped backward. The leg started swinging again. I went around the long way. And now, it's my 4th night. I followed the rules so far. I even dried the water slide with a towel just in case. But about 10 minutes ago, I heard splashing from the locker room. And my keycard? Gone. It was clipped to my belt an hour ago. Either I dropped it, or the locker room took it. I don't know what's in that place after dark, but I'm starting to get the feeling I'm not the first night shifter to vanish, and definitely not the first to ignore the rules. I just hope I'm not the next. At 2:44 a.m., I was standing outside the men's locker room, armed with nothing but a Swiffer mop and the very real sense that I was being watched by the shower drains. The key card was gone. That wasn't a maybe. I'd checked my belt, my pockets, even my shoe like an idiot. It had been clipped to me since my shift started. And now? Gone. According to the rules, keep your key card on you at all times. The locker room doesn't like to stay empty. I didn't know what that meant exactly, but the flickering lights and that rising smell, chlorine mixed with wet hair and mildew, suggested I was about to find out. I pushed the locker room door open with the mop handle like I was breaching a crime scene. "Hello?" I called. Dumb idea. The showers weren't running, but the tile floor was soaked, as if 10 people had just finished cannonballing in there. I could hear a low hum, like someone was humming underwater, and then, from one of the stalls in the far corner, a voice. "Hey, buddy, can you help me find my goggles?" It was high-pitched, soft, a kid's voice, maybe 7 or 8 years old, but it echoed strangely, like it wasn't coming from the stall exactly, but beneath it. "Nope," I whispered, backing up. I took a step back and my foot made a wet squish sound. I looked down and saw a set of goggles sitting on the floor, but they were filled with teeth. I didn't scream. I just turned around and speed walked out like someone who really had to pee and wasn't about to ask questions. I made it back to the main lobby, breathing like I'd just run a 5K in water shoes. I looked up at the camera feed. The lazy river was bubbling. Not like normal jets bubbling, like boiling soup. Little waves sloshed over the sides and a trail of wet footprints led away from it. Small ones, child-sized, right toward the snack bar. I followed the trail slowly, every step soaking into my off-brand Crocs. As I rounded the corner near the churro stand, I stopped. A little girl stood there, soaking wet, with water dripping from her hair in thick black clumps. Her back was to me, and she said in a bubbly, distorted voice, "I want to go back under." My chest locked up. Rule 2. I remembered Rule 2. If a child asks to go back under, ignore them. They aren't yours. I took a step backward. My shoe made a squish. Her head twitched to the side, but she didn't turn around. Then, splash, she dropped flat to the floor like a dead fish and slid backward into the shadows, soaking wet and twitching. Gone. I backed into the janitor closet and slammed the door shut. Now I'm hiding in here with a flashlight and a churro I found under the sink. It tastes like soap and sadness. I reread the rules for the 5th time. Some of them made sense now. Others still felt like a sick joke. Except for the one I'd always laughed at. If you see the mascot, do not speak. Do not move. Do not blink. We had a mascot costume here. A giant foam turtle named Turkleton with dead eyes and a permanent smile. He was horrifying even in daylight. Dave said he used to be part of birthday parties, until some kid peed on him in 2016 and no one wanted to wear it after that. Except now. Now the camera feed on my walkie tablet is frozen on the kiddie pool, and Turkleton is standing at the edge of the water, not slumped in a closet, not hanging on a rack, standing, upright, watching the pool. I'm not going out there yet. I've locked the closet, but I swear I can hear the sound of his foam flippers slapping across the tile outside. Every minute or two, he stops. Then I hear 3 knocks. Knock, knock, knock. On the janitor door. He knows I'm in here. I need to figure out how to get to the staff office and find a spare key card. I think there's one in the lost and found bin, but that's on the other side of the park, past the slides, and according to the rules, the water slide must be dry by 3 a.m. If it's wet, run. And right now, the water's running, and it's only 2:59. At exactly 2:59 a.m., the slide began to hiss. I was still holed up in the janitor's closet, chewing the stale soap churro and trying to keep my legs from shaking. But the second I heard that awful hiss, like an ancient valve opening deep beneath the park, my heart stopped chewing before my mouth did. The water line to the slide was on. That wasn't just a leak. It was activated. The rules were clear. The water slide must be dry by 3 a.m. If it's wet, run. Well, it was soaked. I peeked out from the janitor's closet with my mop raised like a weapon. The hallway lights were flickering like crazy. Someone had clearly messed with the breakers. Probably the same someone who took my keycard. As I crept toward the slide, the air got colder. Not like, turn up the AC cold. Like, your grandma's cellar that she keeps locked for reasons no one talks about. Cold. The slide is this big, twisting purple tube that starts on the second floor and loops around like a wet spaghetti noodle before dumping you into a 4-foot deep splash zone. Except right now, it was just dripping. Slow, constant drops of murky water hit the tile below, with little splat, splat, splats, echoing in the empty room like a ticking clock. I looked up at the slide's top entrance. There was something in it. A shadow, a shape, pressed up against the clear plastic of the tube. It wasn't moving, but it wasn't still either. More like quivering. Then it spoke. "Want to ride with me?" The voice was all wrong, like two kids talking over each other in a giant metal drum. I didn't wait to see what it was. I ran. I ducked through the arcade area. Lights off, but the basketball machines were still bouncing. No music, just rubber thuds and blinking scoreboards. Made it to the staff hallway. Then I heard it again. Slide water. Splashing. It was coming down the slide. Fast. I could hear it chasing me. Not just water, but something wet and heavy slapping through the curves, like a sack of meat in a car wash. I slammed through the employee door and skidded into the lost and found room. Thank God it was unlocked. Inside, 100 things no one ever claimed. Crocs, goggles, moldy swim trunks, and at the bottom of the bin, a key card. I snatched it. Then I heard a wet thud behind me. I turned. The mascot was in the doorway. Turkleton. Not moving, not swaying, just standing. His turtle head cocked slightly sideways, foam flippers twitching. My body froze. The rule screamed in my head. If you see the mascot, do not speak. Do not move. Do not blink. I held my breath. Turkleton took one step forward. The foam foot slapped the tile like someone dropping a sponge full of blood. Then another. He was less than 6 feet from me. I didn't speak, didn't move, didn't blink. And after what felt like a year, he turned and walked away, like I didn't even exist. I collapsed to the floor, trembling. I used the keycard to unlock the security office and barricaded the door with a mini fridge full of Dippin' Dots. Inside was a wall of monitors showing every inch of the park. The wave pool, calm again. But something dark floated just below the surface. A face? No. Faces. Staring straight up at the camera. The lazy river? Bubbling again. But the pretzel from night 1 was back, and now it had teeth marks in it. Then I flipped to camera 9, the slide zone. Water still dripped, but something new was in the splash zone at the bottom. A pair of small footprints. Leading away. I flipped to camera 10. The arcade was empty. Camera 11. The break room. There was someone sitting in my chair wearing my oversized polo, chewing on something. I leaned closer. They turned to face the camera. It was me. Or something wearing my face. It smiled and waved. I'm not sure how long I've got before that thing finds me. But if you're reading this and you ever get desperate enough to take a night shift at an indoor water park, don't. Or if you do, follow the rules. And whatever you do, don't ride the slide. I locked myself in the security office and wedged a vending machine in front of the door like I was trying to survive a zombie outbreak. I didn't care that it crushed half the Dippin' Dots in the process. I needed a barrier. That thing wearing my uniform? With my face? It was still out there, and I was done being the clueless idiot in the haunted water park movie. I needed answers, so I did what any terrified minimum wage janitor would do. I called Dave. He didn't answer the first time, but on the second ring, a raspy voice picked up. "Did you sit in the lifeguard chair?" "What? No." "Then why the hell are you calling me?" I stammered. "Dude, I followed the rules, I swear, but the slide turned on by itself. I lost my key card. There's a kid made of pool water trying to drag me under. And now your stupid turtle mascot is walking around and there's something wearing my face on camera 11. Silence. Then, what time is it? I looked at the wall clock. 3:33 a.m. A long sigh. You weren't supposed to make it this far. He told me to grab the red binder in the security office filing cabinet, bottom drawer, under the fake plant that looks like someone sneezed on a fern. I opened the drawer and there it was. A thick, warped binder labeled Paradise Incident Log, Night Staff Only. The first page was a list of names, dates, and red X's. Every person who'd worked this shift before me, each one with a cause of disappeared or drowned, no water present. The last entry? My name. Already written. Next to it, pending. I flipped further. There were drawings, hand-scribbled maps of the water park with parts scratched out. Notes written in all caps like, locker room door moves after 3 o'clock. Turkleton is in a costume. The child is not a child. Do not talk to her. The slide leads somewhere else. I called Dave back. I need to leave. Now he paused. You can't leave until your shift ends. Screw the shift. You don't understand, he said. That place is built on an old flooded campground, the kind where no one ever found the campers. They turned the land into a family water park to cover it up. Something stayed behind. Or maybe it's been here. I swallowed hard. What do I do? Dave's voice dropped to a whisper. The final rule. There was no final rule on the paper. That's because it's only told over the phone. We don't write it down anymore. The air in the office got cold again, like someone opened a freezer door inside my skull. Then Dave said it. At 4 a.m., the park resets. But if you're still inside, you become part of it. I looked at the clock. 3:51 a.m. I bolted, used the spare key card to unlock the back hallway. Every light flickered like a strobe. Every speaker in the building started hissing out music. Old birthday songs slowed down to funeral pace. I passed the snack bar. The register drawer was open and filled with baby teeth. I passed the locker room. The door was gone. Just tiled wall now. The lazy river glowed blue under the lights. Something was floating in it. Me. A soaking wet copy of me, face down. I kept running. I made it to the front doors, pushed them with everything I had. They didn't budge. I screamed, slamming my shoulder into the glass. Nothing. Then slowly, the automatic doors slid open. Turkleton was standing just outside, blocking the exit. He didn't move, just tilted his head and pointed a foam flipper behind me. I turned around. The girl was standing in the middle of the lobby, soaking wet, hair dangling over her face. I want to go back under, she whispered. Behind her, every TV screen in the arcade turned on, each one showing the splash zone and the slide, filling again. I have 5 minutes until 4 a.m. I don't know what happens if I don't make it out. But there's one place left I haven't checked. The pump room. The source of it all. If I can shut this place down before it resets, maybe I can get out. Maybe. I had 4 minutes left. 4 minutes before 4 a.m., the time Dave said the water park resets. And if I was still inside, I'd become part of it. Whatever that meant, it couldn't be worse than what I'd already seen tonight. Except it was, because now I was standing outside the pump room, and something behind the door was breathing. Deep, wet, rattling breaths, like someone was drowning in reverse. I gripped the keycard with trembling fingers and swiped it through the slot. Beep. Unlocked. I pushed the door open. It smelled like the inside of a shark's mouth. The pump room wasn't just pipes and valves, it was alive. The walls pulsed slightly, like wet muscle. Thick tubes pumped glowing water through the room, thudding like veins. At the center, there was a massive filtration tank, easily 8 feet tall, and floating inside it, something human-shaped. It was curled up like a fetus, skin pale and bloated, with long black hair that twisted in the water like seaweed. As I stepped closer, its eyes opened, milky, glossy, furious. Suddenly, every speaker in the building blasted that same warped birthday music, the pitch rising until it became a shriek. The pipes rattled, the floor vibrated, and the girl's voice whispered from all around me. "Go back under." I turned to run, but Turkleton was in the doorway. His costume sagged and dripped, but his flipper raised and pointed. Back at the tank, back at her. She was pushing against the glass now, cracking it. Tiny spiderweb lines spreading. I realized something then. The slide, the girl, the waves, the bubbling river. They weren't separate. They were parts of her. The water park wasn't haunted. It was her body. And she wanted to be whole again. I yanked the emergency valve next to the tank. Alarm engaged. Filtration purge. Sirens howled. Water gushed through the walls. The tank began to drain, slowly at first, then faster. The creature inside screamed, a gurgling, desperate sound that shook my bones. The pipes burst. Water exploded across the room like blood from an artery. Turkleton didn't move, just stared, foam head slowly deflating as the room shuddered around us. Then the lights blew out. Darkness and silence. I woke up gasping on the break room floor. It was bright. The morning sun shined through the front windows. Birds chirped outside. The arcade screens were off. The wave pool was calm. The slide was dry. No blood. No girl. No turtle. I stumbled to the exit. The doors opened like normal. And Dave was standing in the parking lot, holding 2 coffees and a breakfast burrito. "You made it," he said, like I'd just finished a workout. I collapsed onto the curb, soaked and shaking. "What the hell is this place?" Dave sighed. "It used to be something else. A lake. A burial site. Maybe both. The company built over it, and now, this is the cost. We clean up, we follow the rules, and it stays mostly quiet." "Mostly?" He shrugged. "Unless someone breaks a rule, then she wakes up." I looked back at the building. It looked normal again. But the smiley face painted on the wall by the splash zone? It was crying. I quit that day. Didn't even grab my last check. Sometimes I still hear water in the pipes at home, dripping when it shouldn't, bubbling in the toilet. Once I found a churro in my sink drain, but I don't go back. And if you ever find yourself applying for a night shift at a water park, ask to work concessions. And whatever you do, don't sit in the red chair.